Okay, are we ready to start?
We are ready. The meeting is yours.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, first of all, for joining us on this live public Zoom meeting to provide information about the upcoming Millage Renewal election on April 24th in Kenner. My name is Chris Fortunato with Kenner Media. Mayor Benzon, CAO Deborah Foshi, DCAOs Tom Schreiner, Chad Pitfield, and Lee Roussel are here with us, along with Chief Compliance Officer Adam Campo, Interim Finance Director Liz Herring, City Attorney Ed Rapier, and Public Information Officer Bob Ross. Kenner Fire Chief Terrence Morris is with us, as our Director of Kenner Sewer Department, Joanne Massoni, and Assistant Director Hubert Franklin. Also joining us this evening are Kenner City Council members from District 1, Gregory Carroll, District 2, Mike Segure, District 3, Glenn Hayes, District 4, George Brannigan, District 5, Brian Brennan. And at this time, as other council members, Christy McKinney and Tom Wilmot, if they are able to join us, we will include them as well. So on April 24th, you will see on the ballot for renewal 3 existing millages, which would continue funding for 3 very essential services in the city of Kenner. These are not new millages. They would be a continuation of exactly what Kenner voters already approved 10 years ago. And that would be for fire protection, 7.4 mils, garbage, 1.61 mils, and sewer, 1.14 mils. Early voting starts this Saturday, April 10th through the 17th, except for Sunday. Kenner Media produced several informative and helpful videos explaining each millage renewal. So at this time, we would like to play that video for you. It is a little over 4 minutes in length. And then after the video, we will address questions submitted in advance of this meeting, which we requested a little over 3 weeks or so ago. So please note, depending on the speed of your internet where you are, you may experience a little lag as the video plays. So keep that in mind. And we will tell you where you can also find the video afterwards so you can watch it in its entirety. So Mike, if you would, please roll that video.
On April 24th, voters in Kenner will decide whether to continue 3 existing millages, which provide funding to 3 critical services: fire protection, garbage, and sewer. These are not new taxes. They would continue funding that's been in place for the last 10 years. The renewal of 7.4 mils for fire protection would continue to provide funding for vital fire protection services for the city of Kenner. For the first time in the city's history, Kenner has achieved a Class 1 fire rating, which qualifies homeowners and businesses for insurance discounts. Kenner is one of only 13 municipalities in the state to reach this prestigious ranking. Kenner currently has 102 firefighters stationed in 6 firehouses, protecting nearly 70,000 citizens and businesses. Last year, Kenner firefighters responded to 179 fire emergencies, 882 rescues and EMS calls for service, 174 responses to hazardous conditions, and 171 calls for public assistance, which could even include the tiniest creatures in need of help. This millage renewal would continue to help fund necessary and ongoing life-saving water rescue, active fire, hazardous materials, and other important training for our firefighters, and upgrade necessary firefighting equipment such as pump trucks, rescue vehicles, and fire facilities. The Kenner Fire Department relies on this millage for more than 1/3 of its funding. The continuation of the 1.61 garbage millage pays for trash collection and waste removal from the city's residences and businesses. Landfill fees, as well as services and maintenance provided at the city's woody waste drop-off and recyclable transfer station. All trash pickup vehicles and drivers are constantly monitored to ensure the entire process is timely and efficient. Nearly 80% of the funding for sanitation service in Kenner is provided through this millage and a monthly user fee. The city handles 1.4 billion gallons of sewerage every year, which drains from our homes and businesses into the city's sewerage system, travels through hundreds of miles of pipeline, and undergoes a rigorous 10-hour treatment and sedimentation process before being pumped to the river. The renewal of this essential 1.14 mils would continue funding the safe and efficient operation of the plant day to day, responsive maintenance for immediate repairs, and ongoing preventive maintenance, as well as any necessary improvements to an aging system. The City of Kenner is saving an estimated $1 million in management fees since acquiring autonomous control of the sewer department. This millage and a monthly user fee of $4.35 per 1,000 gallons on each water bill help fund these important sewer services for Kenner residents. Here's how you can determine how much you'd pay using this example. A mill is equal to 1/10 of 1 cent and is how officials assess property tax. Property taxes are based upon the assessed value of a person's home, minus the homestead exemption. For example, if your home is assessed at $250,000, subtract the $75,000 homestead exemption to get the taxable value, in this case, $175,000. Residential property is assessed at 10%. Multiply the assessed value by 1 mil. Multiply that by the millage rate, in this case, 1.14 for sewer service, and that comes to $19.95 per year, or $1.66 per month. Voters in the City of Kenner will decide whether to continue these 3 existing millages, which provide funding to 3 critical services: fire protection, garbage, and sewer. These are not new taxes and have already been in place for the last 10 years. Early voting begins April 10th, and Election Day is April 24th.
So obviously, through the magic and advances in technology, we are able to bring you this fantastic venue for a live Zoom meeting open to the public. However, technology is not perfect. Sometimes internet speeds vary. So you might have heard a little bit of audio skipping. When you watch the video online on our Facebook page and whatnot, YouTube, it will play back smoothly and problem-free. And also, we just want you to know that it's not recording that way. So once again, these are not new millages. Voters approved these exact 3 millages 10 years ago. Now, this video, as well as a couple of others, as well as all our informational materials, were designed, written, and produced in-house by our Kenner Media creative team. These and other materials can be found on the city's website. That's kenner.la.us. On the website is a news release containing the direct links to all videos and more information about the renewals. Also on the Millage Renewal webpage, the city's Facebook page, all Kenner social media, Nextdoor, YouTube. All this information, including the videos, has also been provided to every local media organization, as well as to all Kenner civic associations and business organizations. We have asked the presidents and leadership of those civic associations to share with their members through email. So hopefully you may have received it that way also. And it is available to the general public as well. Now, an informative trifold brochure has been sent to Kenner households and businesses. That is this. It is filled with information on the inside and out. That should help you if you have any other questions. Also, you may have seen some of these signs posted around the city of Kenner mostly at our major intersections. And also this flyer is available throughout some Kenner businesses and at our brake tag station businesses as well. So additionally, the Kenner Star newspaper has provided several informative articles and columns. Also, a full page ad has been placed in the Kenner Star, which is sent to more than 20,000 homes and businesses throughout the city of Kenner. Several of our city's council members have also shared on their social media the Millage Renewal video and information, and all of our materials are translated in Spanish. So we will now get to the questions. And the first question is, are there specific capital outlay projects associated with any of the 3 millages? If so, what are those projects? And I think Deborah Foshi, our CAO, would like to respond to this one.
Okay, so this is not a new or increased millage, so it is not designated for a particular capital outlay project. Rather, each of these millages is the current millage rate voted on by the people 10 years ago, and it's all being used for operational expenses in each of those departments.
Did Chris get muted?
For some reason, am I unmuted?
There you go.
Okay, I had something flashed up on my screen that said I'd been muted. So I don't know if you heard me, but the question was, is this a new tax?
I'll take that one. No, this is not a new tax. This is a renewal that would continue funding for the sewer, garbage, and fire services.
Okay. How long is this renewal? Again, we stated that voters approved these exact 3 millages 10 years ago, and this renewal would also be for 10 years. The next question is, what is a mill? And Liz, if you'd like to take that one also.
Sure. So a mill is equal to 1/10 of a cent. Property taxes are based upon assessed values of a person's home minus the homestead exemption.
Okay. Here is a question that was raised also. What is the difference between a millage and levying a millage?
I believe that one's mine. And I've seen a lot of stuff online which sort of confuses these 2 things. And I can understand it is confusing. Only the people can levy a millage. Only the vote of a people can set a millage. But when you look at the language of the I don't know what it was. So only the people can vote to create the millage. And when you look at the language, it says, shall the city levy a tax not to exceed X amount? So what it is the people giving the city, and in this particular case, the city council, the authority then to levy a tax. So and up to that amount, you cannot go beyond that amount. Every 4 years, when there's a reassessment, the council will look at that and say, okay, the value of the houses have gone up, which means this same millage collects more money. Do we need that more money? Do we not need that more money? And the council at that point can levy up to the amount of the millage, but can also reduce it. So we have had twice, I think, since this millage has been approved by the voters, 2 times during the reassessment period. So the levy is really the amount of the approved millage now it's me, hold on. The levy is the amount of the authorized millage that the council assesses based upon the value of the property. One of the things that is being brought up as an argument that this isn't a tax increase is that because the property values have increased in Kenner and increased dramatically, as I know, trying to buy a house, The property values are very high here, and the taxes as compared to our neighbors are very low. But even with this reassessment impact, the total amount of that additional collection for the sewer department is $48,000 for a year for the whole city. The total amount for the collection for garbage that's based upon the increase in property values is $71,000 for the whole city for the whole year. The fire department increase, and their millage is a larger portion. Their millage is a little above 7. As you probably know, Jefferson Parish is 24 for fire. We're a little above 7. It's an increase of $313,000. I have seen online people saying, well, what do we need that for? Honestly, the fire department is funded by multiple sources. This is just one of them. One of the sources that it's funded by is the airport parking tax, which is down $1 million in 1 year. So the $313,000 doesn't quite completely, we're still $700,000 in the hole. So this is an amount that, yes, is needed, yes, will be put to good use, and every reassessment, the council can change the amount of the levy. What they can never do is exceed the amount that the public has authorized. So what we're voting on April 24th is what is the maximum the public wishes to authorize the council to levy. So I think that, I hope that answers the question, Chris. And I'm sorry for the dog interruption.
Thank you. Chris might be muted again.
I don't know how that happens. I'm not touching it. So, okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so next question is, what portion of each department's funding does the millage provide? And for that, let's maybe go around for each director. Let's start with Joanne Massoni with our sewer department, and then Chad Pitfield with garbage, and then Chief Morris. Joanne?
Hi, the millage covers 7% of our budget, which is $630,733. And it would be used to, if passed, would be used to continue the service that we provide, repairs, maintenance, service call responses, treatment plant duties, chemicals, lab tests, stay in compliance, lift station repairs.
Okay, Chad Pitfield.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. The millage for garbage covers about 18% of the funds needed to take that waste from curb to the final spot of the landfill. So this is an entire process that goes from the collection from your curb ultimately to the landfill location. So all of those fees and the cost, again, the millage is covers about 18% of those costs.
Okay, and Chief Morris with Kenner Fire Department.
The mills that I collect is approximately 38% of my overall budget. My operating budget is salaries are 92% of my total operating budget. So this millage will basically cover the maintaining of the number of firefighters on each apparatus that we respond to assist the public in.
Okay. Actually, this next question is for you, Chief Morris. What impact does the millage have on the Class 1 fire rating that Kenner Fire Department achieved?
The major impact that it has on the fire department is we have to maintain a minimum number of personnel staffed on each apparatus at any given time in order to provide the level of protection that comes with a Class 1 rating. In doing that, we need to keep a minimum of 4 people on each apparatus as it responds. 4 people is a lot more effective than 3. as national studies have shown, which which plays a major part in our rating. There are many other aspects that the rating covers, but it's 4 people on the apparatus get approximately 30% more work done than 3 people would on the same apparatus. So we are able to respond to any incident a lot quicker and save fire damage or rescue people with that number of people. So the millage is a significant portion of our budget. So we need to maintain that level in order to keep the Class 1 rating.
Okay. So this next question touches on all 3 departments affected by this millage renewal. And this one should go to Liz Herring in finance. What are the funding sources for each department?
Okay, I'll start with the sewer department. So like Joanne said, 7% of the budget is funded by this millage. The other 92% is funded by user fees. And the remaining 1% of their budget is inspection and tie-in fees. The garbage millage, like Chad said, 18% of the budget is funded by the millage. 75% of the budget is funded by user fees. And the remaining 7% is funded by sales tax. For fire, like Chief Morris said, 38% of the budget is funded by this millage. The funding sources that make up the remaining 62% have all been affected by COVID. Like Deborah talked about earlier, the parking tax has taken a major hit. Also, sales taxes have declined. So, this is a very important millage for the fire department. The department is also always looking for ways to apply for grants that help with maintaining personnel and equipment. So, oftentimes they are looking for other revenue sources as well.
Okay. So perhaps this question would go to maybe Deborah can answer this question. Can the millages be used for any other departments?
No, actually they cannot. So for instance, we're talking about the fire millage will allow us to have another $313,000. The sewer millage will allow us to have another 48, and the garbage will allow us to have another 71. The fire millage can only be spent on fire. The sewer millage can only be spent on sewer, and the garbage millage can only be spent on garbage.
Okay. This next question may be a duplicate question asked a little bit earlier, but perhaps at this point, each director could elaborate a little bit more. But the question is, how will the funds generated from the millages be used if the millages are approved? So we'll start with Joanne in sewer.
Okay, so for the sewer department, it would go towards salaries. It would go towards equipment. With 79 lift stations in a plant, we have numerous equipment with pumps, motors, electronics. So it would be repair of those. It would be, keeping, vac trucks on the street, regular trucks, repairs for the collection system. In the plant, we have large equipment that needs to be maintained. We have to have chemicals in order to treat the sewage. We have to do lab testing as required by our permit to stay in compliance, and also training, because we're all required to have a state license. We have to be certified in wastewater treatment and wastewater collection by Louisiana Department of Health, and we're also required to have continuing education hours. So the millage would also go towards that.
Okay, Chad, could you speak to the garbage services?
Yes, ma'am. And as we stated earlier, this millage pays for it helps fund the trash collection from the curb to the landfill. So every process in between, including the tipping fees at the landfill for the garbage to be deposited. So that is the garbage is a pretty straight and simple. It's picking it up from your curb as you put it out and getting it to the landfill for it to be properly disposed of.
Okay. And Chief Morris?
The millage will be used for, like I said, staffing of the apparatus that we use to respond to incidents within the city. It's also used to repair those apparatus. It's used to train the men. Each member of the fire department has to receive a number of hours, minimum 210 hours every year of training, additional training, to maintain the level of knowledge in order to provide the level of protection that we need to provide for the community. As everybody knows, times have changed, circumstances change. We have different threats going on and getting worse each year that we need to be prepared for. It buys equipment, regular rescue equipment, medical equipment that we use when we respond on medical calls. In addition to the training, it repairs the fire stations that we stay in. Members stay in the fire station 24 hours a day. So it's basically a house for the members of the fire department. So the millage is used in many ways, various ways, in order to maintain operating safe fire department for the community.
Okay, thank you, Chief, and Chad, and also to Joanne. The next question is about a comparison. How do these millages in Kenner compare to those in Jefferson Parish? So sewer services for Consolidated Sewer District number 1 in Jefferson Parish costs residents 5 mils compared to 1.14 mils for sewer services in Kenner. The garbage millage in Jefferson Parish is 4 mils for residents throughout the parish compared to 1.61 mils in the city of Kenner. And Kenner residents pay 7.4 mils for fire protection services. Residents in unincorporated Jefferson Parish pay 24 mils. That's a little more than 3% more for operation of the East Bank Consolidated Fire Department. So again, Kenner Sewer is 1.14 mils compared to Jefferson Parish 5. Kenner Garbage Service is 1.61 compared to the parish's 4. And fire protection in Kenner is 7.4 mils compared to 24 mils for the East Bank Consolidated in Jefferson Parish. So our next question is, why weren't these millage renewals on the March 20th ballot with the parish's millage renewals? Deborah?
Okay, they were. At least they were on our agenda for that purpose. Unfortunately, the notice that was posted, and again, that's not posted by us, but the notice that was posted did not have the correct time. So some of the folks who may be in this meeting actually showed up at the wrong time for that meeting. For something like that, you have to be precise. You have to make sure that the dates and times are accurate. So we went from the March election date to the April election date. This is the last election date for us to be able to get this on before the collection of the village. So we had every intention, and we're trying to get it on March. It would have been more convenient for everyone, but there was an error that prevented us from doing that.
Okay. One more question for this evening. And the question is, how much will I pay for these millages? So what we have done to prepare for this response, the calculation example again is in the video. However, we can queue it up to take another look at that portion to explain about the calculation. Mike, do you have that readily available? Okay, so to kind of recap for you, a mill is equal to 1/10 of 1 cent. Property taxes are based upon the assessed value of a person's home minus the homestead exemption, which is $75,000. For example, if a property, a home, is assessed at $250,000, for example, you take 10% amount because residential property is assessed at 10%. Mike, if you could advance to the next screen. Again, if you have a $250,000 assessed value of a home, subtract the homestead exemption, you get $175,000. And again, the residential property is assessed at 10%. So if you do the math, you are talking about taking the $175,000. If you could advance to the next screen. Mike, okay. And you multiply it by 1 mil, which is 0.001. You multiply that by the sewer service mill, for example. In this example is 1.14. And your total for the year is $19.95 for sewer services for the year, or roughly about $1.66 per month. And again, this is for a home that is assessed at about $250,000. So those are the questions we received in advance of this meeting. If you have additional questions, we will be happy to answer them. Please submit them to millageinfo@kenner.la.us, millageinfo@kenner.la.us. Again, we will provide a link on the city's website directly to that email address where you can submit any additional questions beyond the ones we addressed this evening. Just so you know, we have attended several Civic Association meetings virtually and in person, as well as business organization meetings, Kenner Business Association, Kenner Rotary Club, providing information about the upcoming millage renewal election. If you'd like to watch that video again, as well as access many other materials that we have prepared for helpful information, please visit the city's website. That's kenner.la.us. And on the homepage, you will be directed to several direct links to the videos as well as other information. Again, early voting begins this Saturday, April 10th through the 17th, except for Sunday. They are closed on Sunday, April 11th, and election day is the 24th of April. So thank you to our members of the public for attending this public Zoom meeting that we have made available to try to answer your questions. Again, you can still submit your questions and we'll be happy to answer them at millageinfo@kenner.la.us. Thank you to our directors and our council members, the mayor and the executive staff for attending this meeting. And that will do it for this public Zoom meeting to answer some questions for the upcoming millage renewal election. Thank you all for participating.
Thank you, Chris.
Any more comments, Mayor or council members? Deborah?
Chris, I just want to say thank you for the presentation. That's what we need. I also want to thank the council for a 7-0 vote of putting this out for the renewals. This is not just done by your team, it's done also by the council working together to make sure that people know what's coming up. So I want to thank the council besides your team and everyone else who's worked on it. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Have a good evening.